lot of people in our community are getting a little anxious because they are not seeing enough of the progress they thought they would have seen at this point. Let's not disappoint them, and let's not get to a place where voters in Georgia begin to second guess.
Okay, let me respond. I've got to go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay, number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else, no progressive, was talking about it. I did.
Nigga, take that, black bastards.
You black son of a bitch.
That was President-elect Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? And
you sure that wasn't President Trump?
Hey, bro,
It sounded kind of like it.
You didn't hear a stutter on Joe Biden. he didn't have a single.
He took
stutter,
it. He took on phonics racism class, man.
Came at
Hooked on phonics and white supremacy edition.
Well, let's introduce ourselves, my brother. This is for those that don't know, welcome this week in white supremacy. My name is Jasiri X. I am the CEO and co-founder of One Hood Media. The man to my left, all right, Mr. NLS. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, it is Treble NLS, Never Lose Sight. You know what I'm saying? The neighborhood alchemist. And according to Jasiri, One Hood's hippie.
One Hood hippie. And
once again, it's the Wonder Twins. You know, see the whip and the wop. Fuck my twin, you'll get shot.
You know what I'm saying?
No, like with the shades, full-time supervillain, part-time hater.
So don't stop the show, you know what I'm saying? It's your girl Miracle. It's what it do.
She came through with the rhymes too.
So if you can just speak up a little bit, Miracle is a little bit. Farouk is loud, so you got to be a little bit louder.
It's the balance, you know, the yin and the yang. You know what I'm saying? It works.
Light, I'm dark, you know.
You got the black hair, I got the blonde hair, you know what I'm saying? He got the white shades, I got the black shades, you know. Hey.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you back in the city, Miracle. We're glad that you're safe in the city. And obviously, it's cut up time. I mean, that was, that was our president-elect Joe Biden with, basing his voice for the black civil rights leaders. We thought it was, something that, we should kind of have a conversation about, at the top of the show. I mean, we talked about Trump a lot, you know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. But it was kind of wild to see, to hear, Joe Biden really, put a lot of bass in his voice when talking to these black people. Like he was really tired of hearing it. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like he was saying, look, listen, I said your silly slogans. They told me I wasn't going to win, and I did. You know what I'm saying? What more do you want from me?
He came in saying, I'm the only president to run on 3 platforms. 3. He reminded you niggas. Don't forget what Joe Biden, what Sleepy Joe, what Uncle Joe did for you.
Hey, he was not sleepy in that call.
He said I was on Tidal, Spotify, and Apple Music.
He got a mixtape coming out next Friday.
3 platforms.
Everybody.
Tidal, Spotify, and Apple. No, it's funny because like I said, and then he was like, well, first of all, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? I got to leave right now.
Said, hold on, let me tell you something before I leave, though, nigga.
Let me share something with you before I leave. That was Joe talking to, what was the dude's name? Corn Pop? That was like his corn pop smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe went back to the Wilmington hood when he was around all the black people at the pool. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hold up. But before I go, let me tell y'all something about
Let me tell you something right now, nigga.
Let me tell you what Joe Biden did. You know what I'm saying? No president. Not even Barack. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, not even Obama. Not even very young.
Voted for no president. So yeah, it was kind of, so maybe I don't know. We're gonna start on what the fuck did Joe Biden do now? We hope, you know what I'm saying. We hope we don't got to go there, but
nobody cursed him out.
Right?
No one said
Nobody
anything to him.
said that. Y'all said that man talks to you crazy.
Right, and then Al Sharpton said it was a productive meeting. Nikki Joe said, "Where's the link?" If you go online, it's like leaked audio of the meeting between Joe Biden. This happened last week, and Black civil rights leaders. So Al Sharpton was there. The brother from the NAACP was there. I believe the brother from the Urban League was there. You know what I'm saying? And Joe Biden
got front row seats to the disrespect. They got front row seats to the smoking section.
Joe was not feeling none of them. Yep, yeah. Joe came with smoke. Joe
said, "I thought I was in the basement."
You thought.
I am in the White House now, and you will deal with me. All this disrespect.
100%.
That was busting Joe.
And I think like for Black people, and it was wild because the person who asked him the question, and I don't know if it was the guy from the NAACP, but he was just kind of saying like, "Hey man, like we're concerned about Georgia. We're concerned about like not losing Black people in this moment." And that's kind of the Black experience with voting. This is why it's so hard to even convince Black people to go to the polls, because a lot of times Black people will say straight up like they use you to get elected, and then as soon as they get elected, they flip the script. You know what I'm saying? And so it is kind of wild to see like Joe was all kind and soft, and what I'm saying, thanking Black people, and I don't know where was Kamala on the call. I don't know if she was even on the call.
There's no way she could have been invited on that.
I think she was on the call though. I think she was there though. I think she was. She was right. She ain't say nothing, and them other Black people ain't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? And so we'll see if that continues or if there's a possibility, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I think like right now for organizers, we understand that. We understand like one, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get Warnock and what's the other dude's name, Miracle? Ossoff in office, you know what I'm saying? To have power to pass some certain thing. They also said Joe Biden said he's not doing a lot of executive orders. He's not doing that. That's why we
still behind Ice Cube.
Ice Cube laughing at y'all niggas right now.
You know what?
Ice Cube about to use that as the intro to his next album. Like I don't y'all, Black people.
That's gonna be new fuck the police right there, man. Like Q should Kanye's gonna do it. Lil Pump's gonna be on the hook.
Oh, he said Lil Pump.
I mean, yeah.
Lil Pump's gonna be. Man,
I would love. I don't know if y'all know, and Black Seeds might know. Seeds, you might know. You might be able to reach Q. I would love to have a conversation with Ice Cube, man, because I have literally 3 million questions for this dude. Question one is, why are you speaking to the Zionists of America with Donald Trump on the bill? Like you and Trump are speaking at this thing. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to ask, but I think like to me, I mean, I think if Ice Cube wants help or needs help, reach out to people that are active in organizing and doing those different things like that. If you're not that, then man, I have an issue with why are you the spokesperson, and where are the people that helped you put this plan together, and what is it ultimately going to do? So I mean, we talked about
where
that.
Where was Ice Cube for Brandon Bernard when we were trying to save that Black man's life? That's also questions, but I'm the angry Black woman, so let me just sit over here.
No, Miracle, I think, we want to start because, and it's interesting we start, and, sometimes, people will watch the show and feel like there is some type of partisan. Are y'all, y'all froze up for a second. I don't know if your internet is not good over in Bloomcraft. I don't know if the snow, maybe it's y'all
where we are.
I know, right?
We talk about white supremacists, now they're gonna know where we are.
The opposite.
My fault. I mean, they ain't gonna be able to get there. They got mad snow to get to. Yo,
listen, white supremacy thrive in the snow.
Thrive because it's white. It's all white outside. This is the best time. It's all white outside. But no,
all white, man, they got the camouflage. They got nature's camouflage.
The camouflage.
Look at you. Farouk is so inappropriate. So look, but it's interesting that we talk about
condone the statements.
You about to cancel us? Farouk gets us canceled every episode. He said,
and I don't even try. That's the thing. Imagine what I could do with some thought behind it.
Ice Cube was not the only one to come out and speak for Black people. That is not that is not accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like I know we heard Ice Cube. I know we saw Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? But Ice Cube was not the only one. It was a lot of people not only coming out to speak for Black people, but organizing Black people on the ground and different communities. So I know Ice Cube's a celebrity. I know he's a rapper. I know we like his albums, but let's not try to give him the credit as being the only one to speak for Black people. Like, come on, we can't do that.
While erasing the work of Black women.
Exactly. And speaking of that, because we wanted to start with this situation that happened in Chicago, because and speaking of kind of like progressive, Chicago elected a Black queer woman as mayor. Lori Lightfoot, and a lot of people, I remember the day she got elected, people was applauding, people was clapping, people was like, a Black queer woman got elected mayor, this is significant, this is historic, and not saying that it wasn't, but I remember, Charlene Carruthers, who used to run BYP 100 in Chicago, coming out and saying, this is not something we should be celebrating. This is not somebody who's progressive on the issues. And we've seen Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot be as far from progressive. And now we see her adopting the same thing that Rahm Emanuel did. Rahm Emanuel, when he was mayor of Chicago, of course, prevented for a year the video of Laquan McDonald from coming out, who was a young Black man that was murdered in Chicago on video by Chicago police. I think he might have had a knife. I don't know what it was, but he got shot 16 times. And Rahm Emanuel suppressed that video so he could be reelected for mayor. Now we had a Black woman in Chicago, and this happened in February. In February in Chicago, she was, I wanted to get her name, Anjanette Young, who was basically, this is a Breonna Taylor situation, was alone in her home. She went to go, change to go to bed. Police kicked down her door and basically handcuffed her while she was naked in her house. Come to find out that once again, police had the wrong house, harassed a woman who did nothing, committed no crime. Thankfully, she escaped alive, but was negatively impacted, obviously, by the situation, humiliated by the police, if you could imagine.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's the very least. Like, that's a lot of trauma right there. And then to be humiliated naked, where you're literally, you're stripped of all your dignity.
100%.
On
camera, and in your own home where you're supposed to feel safe. Like, you're not going to be able to go into, your bedroom or your kitchen and experience the same joy or safety in that situation, especially after it's been, dashed off and booted to shreds and everything like that. And then you're chained up and naked in your own place. Like, you got to move at the very least. You know what I mean? Just to establish some sort of normalcy. You know what I mean?
And they're not consoling her at all. They're just like yelling at her, like, stop, calm down, ma'am. Stop freaking out, ma'am. And it's like, bro, how would you react? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Calm down. And you can't. And, we're not going to show the video because we don't, it's certain videos talking about it. Yeah, certain videos, right. It's traumatic just thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? And what was I thought was interesting about the story. Now, I mean, of course, like the inhumane way she was treated, but it said that it said even though the raid happened 9 months ago, it wasn't until after CBS 2 broke the online story Tuesday morning that the Civilian Office of Police Accountability contacted Young. In an email to her attorney, the agency wrote they have opened an investigation into her case. So they didn't open an investigation into the case until 9 months later. And the only reason they opened an investigation is because the news reported on it.
And that's it. Like, they were completely complicit and okay with just acting like this didn't happen. This was a regular Tuesday for them. Like, this is just another day, and the thing is this is why we chat about all the time. Defund is going to lead to, in our opinion, abolish. That's what we want, because there's no sustainability to this. These practices are, whether you have a Black mayor, whether you have a Latinx mayor, whether you have an indigenous mayor, it's not the color of the person that's in the office. It's the training, it's the historical practices, it's the pathology behind all of these behaviors. And it's for now is that policing is violent towards people of the local majority, and the response to poverty is more police. So if you're both a Black or brown person and in poverty, police are a death sentence for you. That's why we're not talking about just defund overnight, right? We want defunding to eventually lead to abolishing. Abolition is what our end goal is, and this for reasons like this. How many times have we seen this happen in 2020? How many times have we seen it just in 2020 alone?
In 2020 alone.
And then to make matters even worse, they said that the person they were actually looking for was on house arrest, had an anklet and everything, something that could be traced and tracked. And
This
they
is
still were in the wrong house.
This is a combination of Breonna Taylor and Sean Bell.
Right.
But
You were going to say something, Miracle?
Like the insidiousness of repeatedly coming after Black women in their homes is this legacy of really even talk about. It's just unconscionable that this is happening over and over again and again. And then for folks who wonder why we take to the streets or wonder why we actually protest, it's because this is what gets results.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If I was the police chief and I saw this video, I wouldn't be waiting 9 months to do an investigation. I won't be waiting 9 months to talk to Miss Young, right? I would be doing like something must have happened. Let me figure it out. Let me get in front of this communication. But when you have positions of power, when you are invested in keeping empire and hating on Black and brown people, you don't care because you don't view us as human. And this goes again to our first episode. Who is your Black friends? Who are your brown friends? Because some of them just want the protection of white supremacy because they don't have the complexion for it. And so that's what we always be pushing. Like, it's just not white people who are white supremacists.
100%. And right, because it was, Mayor Lori Lightfoot actually tried to prevent the news from showing the video. Like same way Rahm Emanuel tried to suppress the video for Laquan McDonald, that they actually had to sue to finally get that shown. Mayor Lori Lightfoot also tried to suppress this video to prevent the news from showing it. So once again, like you said, here's a Black woman, here's a quote unquote Democrat, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, just because you Black, just because you're a Democrat, just because you identify as queer, does not make you somebody that is not a white supremacist. I mean, she is, in my mind, despite what she, those identifications, she's a white supremacist because that's kind of how she's behaving. So she came out today and apologized.
What's your apology going to do?
Right.
It's not to undo the situation.
Yeah. And not only that, with
your whole child.
9 months later. What'd you say, Miracle?
A whole conception later.
Right?
A whole child later. Right. And it's like, you're going to apologize now. And it's like, somebody that it's like, you're not apologizing because you're sorry. You're apologizing because you got caught. And let's keep it real.
I say this virtually every episode, and I see Nikki Joe going in down there. Yeah, right. Like Nikki is always saying that shit. But niggas hate white supremacy because they're jealous of it. That's what really we come to, and then we see this all the time. Is just that these purveyors of white supremacy. I heard the series say that earlier today on a meeting. I really like how he worded that, so I'm gonna steal it and go with it because that's what I do. I take shit that don't belong to me because I like it.
Reverse colonialism.
This week in white supremacy.
Yeah, man. Listen, just another day, innit? Walk off with your shit like it's mine.
But I'm just not gonna.
Now you drink that. Yeah. What would you say?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. It's just whether it's Lightfoot, whether it's these so-called progressive been accused of being we love being pandered by these Democrats. It's like, nah, we understand that whether it's blue, red, however you politically align yourself, you niggas hate white supremacy because you're jealous of it. You want chauvinism for yourself. You want white patriarchy for yourself. You want all of these toxic traits. You want this lineage of vile behavior to benefit you and no one else, and you're upset. So you hear what was Samuel Jackson's character in Django or Uncle Ruckus? Like, that's the type of time you niggas be on, and you just throw on an onk and you just throw on an onk and a kufi and a dashiki, and you call it hotepery, but it's really just white supremacy. That's all that shit is. It's like, you niggas is fucking frauds, man. Left.
Yeah, and I think it's like, what are you, that's the reality is just being Black and just, like you said, we gonna all put black on our Instagram. Like that ain't enough, man. Like, what are you doing to improve the conditions of y'all community? Because we need help in all aspects. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to step out there, but definitely if you're gonna put yourself in between the community and some officers that raided the home of a black woman and handcuffed her naked and she didn't do anything wrong, then you on the side of white supremacy at that point. I mean, it's just point blank, period. And we're gonna call it like that, and we're gonna call you a white supremacist if that's what you are. And I think like in this moment, we're seeing like, you can call yourself a progressive all day, but if you're standing, and I know we're kind of going a little bit out of order of what we was talking about, but the public source just produced a story that talked about the police here in Pittsburgh. And it talked about an officer, one officer in 10 years had over 100 complaints. Over 100 complaints in a 10-year period. And this is an officer that's still on the force. And so you're telling me that, although, Mayor Peduto has the power to fire officers, you're telling me you don't have the power to fire an officer who has over 100 complaints? And you're just going to allow this person to continue to brutalize our community and get away with it? It was many of the officers had more than 5 complaints. So what is the process of removing these officers who brutalize our community? So if you're somebody that's going to stand away, I don't care where you live. I don't care where you grew up. I don't care what you from. I don't care if you had a whole African name. I don't care if it was Musafa, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what it is, you know what I'm saying? If you are standing in the way or you standing on the side of white supremacy, then that's what you are,
Facts. What's the lady, the people in front of the community policing vote?
Tiffany?
Yeah, what I would like to see Miss Tiffany do now that this report is out.
Now I have to email her back. Thank you.
You have to email her back. What is the issue with these reports, right? Is it something that the community is doing wrong when they report these officers? Are they saying these officers violated my rights versus this officer pulled me over, yelled at me? What is going on for the community policing people? That's what they see. Like this programs teach people where to go to report the police, what the procedures are for the investigation, what the report should look like, who should they call. I don't want a conversation about going to a basketball game. 100%. I want a conversation about why, if an officer calls me a racial slur, he or she are not automatically fired or suspended. I want to know where are the rules and conducts of behaviors in your policing agreement. So when the officer violates my rights, I can go and report them. That's what I want to see. So I hope that Tiffany and whoever is in that community policing, whatever it's called, assignment does that work, because I'm sick of told we shouldn't protesting. We're making the city look bad. But meanwhile, we have an officer, over 100 complaints. Most of these complaints somehow aren't even investigated. They're not even resulting in a penalization. What are we this system we're supposed to trust?
Talk that shit.
Right.
Talk that shit.
Right.
No.
Right. And what's interesting is like, and this was the research that was done by Rich Lord at the Public Source. Appreciate his work. He wasn't allowed to put the names, but they had the officer's number. So, we don't know if this officer is Officer Paul Abel, who was just suspended, and supposedly he's going to be fired again. We know Paul Abel is an officer who is a multiple abuser, and I mean, it's multiple videos of this dude brutalizing folks. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know it, but we also know this is the dude that also makes $150,000. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know.
You know what it makes me think?
Absolutely.
It makes me think like if they're constantly getting fired and then rehired, and then like no punishment beyond being fired is being, administered to these people, it kind of looks like they're doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Right.
It kind of looks like that was part of their job. The brutalization is part of what they're being trained to do. So there's no real consequence because in a way they're kind of doing what they were told,
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly if you find a lot of times, I'm sure in a 10-year period, this dude was promoted. whoever this officer was, and we don't know because there's not a name attached, but I'm sure in 10 years he wasn't, he didn't come in the same way. He probably was promoted. So like you said, if you're getting written up by the public and you're being promoted, nobody's, checking you inside the force, nobody's really caring, and then just like you said, let's say you're a police officer and you might be on the fence, you can look and say, oh, well, shoot, if I brutalize somebody, nothing's going to happen to me. This dude got if somebody complains against me, it's not something I have to worry about. This dude got 100 complaints and he's still working on the job.
I remember you said when we were in Hawkins Village, common sense legislation is the number one thing that we need here. And what we need is for these police officers, for these murderers, for these, tyrants, these terrorists, these domestic terrorists, let's call it what it is.
Absolutely.
For them to not only walk around without impunity, because that's what they've shown that they have. There's a system in place that allows them impunity. But as I was saying earlier, even though we're for abolition of prisons, there needs to be a penal system in place for these officers to feel the fullest extent of the law, because you're supposed to uphold the law. So they should receive the harshest punishments. I even would recommend something in the line of a dishonorable discharge that will prevent them from owning firearms, that will prevent them from occupying certain spaces, that will prevent them from holding office, and have their civil servitude. There's a test, right? There's something like that. Have that stripped away from you.
Yeah.
Dishonorably on a public platform that would allow us to see, okay, that person right there is a threat to our human beings. Right.
Absolutely,
there.
right. It's a threat.
Like, I had to do a perp walk, right? I had to walk that shit down. How come these niggas don't have to do that shit?
That's real, and it's like you should be, you should be, because you're trained. Like, so you got the training. You should be held to a higher standard when you violate that training, particularly the responsibility of enforcing the law. You got to uphold the law yourself. You know what I'm saying? But we see time and time again, not only do police not uphold the law, but a lot of times police are above the law. And then what happens? We have politicians trying to not only protect police, but even give them more money and more resources. You know what I'm saying? And so that's wild as well. You know what I mean? And then we see, what we've seen over and over again is like, when we talk about what we've seen over and over again, and we saw it in DC this past week, when black people protest, police is out there, militarized up, spraying, all types of stuff at us, throwing tear gas at us, ready to rock. But when white people come out and are violent, it's like the police are nowhere to be found. Like, you can't see them.
Because the police be in the crowd, they be protesting with the white people. That's wild. It's part of their kit. You get me? They probably going to Cold Stone Creamery afterwards. They giving out bottles of water. They doing all kinds of wild fuck. And this is real shit. Like, we've seen police in these situations go get ice cream with people, hand out a bottle of water to white protesters.
Right. Could you imagine what would happen? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were going to say something, Miracle?
I forgot. I want to say her name was Liv, but if you watch SVU,
Liv.
It's Liv. You know what she say? The police are the biggest gang in the world.
Facts.
Liv said that. And so they're not gonna arrest they people. How proud they ran through this weekend, how they've been running through Portland. The police don't do anything. Trespass, destruction of property, vandalism, whatever. Black people just come out. Like, there's 3 of us. There go the officers. Oh, following them. It's the mob, the gang. Something's about to happen. And next thing you know, bam, tear gas, spray with water. They have water guns now. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
You spraying black people with water still in 2020?
Oh yeah.
We saw what happened when black people, and it was other people as well, just gathered in front of Mayor Peduto's house, and the police came with a violent response to those protesters that night. Could you imagine if somebody tried to take some sign down from his house and burn it? Could you imagine the response from police?
Like Philadelphia in 1985.
Right. But we saw, and if you had that video, John, if you could bring up, we saw the Proud Boys in Washington, D.C. And for those that don't know, because, the Proud Boys had some MAGA march, they all mad because Trump lost, and, they had their little march being mad at Trump. But one of the things that they did is they actually ran up to an historically black church in Washington, D.C., took the Black Lives Matter sign from the church steps, broke the Black Lives Matter sign, and then set it on fire, all in front of police, all while nothing and nobody did anything. Here's a little video of it. A little like larger so we can see the whole thing. I don't know why we can't see it. Okay, there we go.
Mayonnaise mayhem.
Yep. It just kind of shows you that, like, once again, if that was black people, if we ran up to some Catholic church and took some, I mean, you know, I mean, we talked about it last week about how, like, you know, white people, you know, that's one of the privileges of being white in America, particularly if you're a white man, is you could just be violent. You could be violent. I mean, you know, I actually watched a video. Remember, we talked about one of the protesters and I think it was Staten Island. He was protesting the fact that he didn't want to close his restaurant below his car. He actually ran a police officer over. He was actually on the Sean Hannity show. Yeah. And they were actually they were like, they allowed him a platform to defend himself. These are the same people that be like, we back the blue, we with the cops. But this white dude actually ran a police, had the police on his hood. And I saw Sean Hannity say, oh, well, you know, it looked like you were just trying to like move him out of your way. Like you weren't. Man, could you, man, one, we wouldn't even get a police officer on our hood because we would get shot automatically. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, that's the reality that we face. You know what I mean?
There's this luxury for white people to have cafeteria violence, you know, just kind of pick and choose whatever they want and just go through moving like, oh, yeah, you know what? This is what I feel like doing today.
Buffet, you know? The violence buffet.
Yeah, man, you know, like all you can eat, you know, white supremacist buffet of violence, you know. And there was another situation like this where there was another restaurateur who was like 41 years old who actually was charged with a hate crime. He had like a decommissioned ambulance and he drove it at some black guy and punched him in a parking lot over a beer or something like that. Like, I don't know what is it with these restaurant types right now getting all these hate crimes, you know, stats. Yeah, man, like, you know, they getting these stats for hate crimes up. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something in the food industry, but geez. Like,
you were saying something, Miracle?
Yes. I mean, this is part of the reason why I now take the approach that I refuse to condemn any black person and I refuse to disassociate from any black person because we have this whole entire year, no matter what thing a white person has done, no matter how violent, people have gone out of their way to humanize them, support them, protect them, love them, and fundraise for them, right? And it is just mind-blowing because we've watched people get murdered in their cars in Milwaukee and different places because they said the officer was in fear for their lives. Those the teenagers, I forgot what their names right now, they were in the car and those police shot that car up, including passengers, because they said they were in fear of being ran over. But here's this white man for a business that he has insurance on, that the state and the federal government is actually paying him if he closes, running over a cop and nothing happens. It is infuriating to say the least. I thought all lives matter. Clearly not. Clearly not. Not if they're blue.
Well, I think
and trying to help you not get a respiratory virus and a global pandemic. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I will say, at the end of the day, we're at the end of the day. We are. I don't get it. I really do not get why people are this upset because if you really want to have things open, why not just sit down for 2 fucking weeks?
It's 14
just
days.
2 weeks.
It's 14
like literally.
Days.
Look at Australia. Look at New Zealand. Look at all these other countries.
Hey,
2 weeks.
But this is the problem with that, Miracle.
2 weeks.
But that's not Merc.
This is the problem.
We can have tours. We can have concerts right now. Y'all won't sit down for 2 weeks.
Not only that, but I mean, I think you had hold on. I'm sorry. You all broke up a little bit.
No, fine.
You kind of broke up a little bit. But you had today. I mean, it came out today that I guess whoever the guy from Trump's coronavirus task force literally said, if we go into what the fuck did Trump do now, that they were trying to reach what they call herd immunity, that they wanted to try to get millions of children and young adults to get corona so they could get some herd immunity. It came out today. I mean, he basically said we want people to get infected. And so this is the same, president and mentality that, you have these people who run this restaurant called the Cracked Egg in Brentwood. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's crazy. I ate there before and I didn't even peep.
Hey, bro.
When I was reading the article, I looked it up. I was like, oh no.
I want to say this real quick because I thought this was funny. When I first was reading this, because I don't read things all the way, I just get the pertinent information. I thought cops were smoking crack.
Oh.
That's what I thought it was. That's why we talking about crack this morning. I'm like, who was smoking crack? Like, why are police officers smoking crack? I said, I thought it was. That's what I thought. I thought niggas is out here.
Hey, I mean, I know you was probably, inhaling some Corona. You know what I'm saying? You was probably inhaling some Corona at Cracked Egg because they're a restaurant that let's call it what it is. It's white supremacist restaurant. They're doing some toy drive.
So they don't season their food. Is that what you're saying?
Hatred and fascism.
Food is dry.
Actually, I think there's white people cooking there too, and it's so sad.
Really? Oh, damn.
Where's
right? But for those that don't know, this restaurant's in Brentwood. They're doing some toy drive with the Proud Boys. We're trying to say like, please remove our logo from your racist thing. They also are one of these restaurants that's refusing to close down, refusing to abide by Governor Wolf's order. And guess who was there? Of course, 2 county sheriffs was there that they took pictures with. And now these sheriffs who are supposed to be essential workers, frontline workers, they're supposed to be protecting themselves. They're supposed to be enforcing these laws. You know what I'm saying? But these sheriffs showed up in uniform to this restaurant and took a picture with the owner, you know what I'm saying, endorsing the racism, the fascism, and them going against the governor that they're supposed to be serving. What the hell?
Whiteness means you can just opt in and out of laws and justice and do what, like, it's the police. The police officers were like, not only are we not going to wear a mask, we're going to take a photo and prove that we're breaking this mandate, prove that we are not going to be protecting and serving people, and see what happens. Nothing. But what I don't understand, because Jeremiah came out today, you can be infertile, you can lose your memory, you cannot breathe, you have a lifetime of blood clots, all type of stuff.
The singer, Gemma?
Yeah. Why do you want that herd immunity?
Do you remember?
Like, that's not like, and you don't have health insurance. Yeah. Like, I don't.
Just for some context, Jeremiah is a
Jeremiah. No A.
Jeremiah. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I'm from Chicago too. Jeremiah, R&B singer from Chicago. He was in ICU. He was like
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah, for 3 weeks. We really thought he might die because of coronavirus. And just made it out the hospital just recently. You know what I'm saying?
They hacking our stream, I think. I think they.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a lot of. But somebody.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember just a few short months ago when police were out here fucking niggas up for not wearing masks?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Right. Literally beating the shit out of people for not wearing masks.
Grabbed the black dude off the bus in Philadelphia and threw him off the bus because he didn't have a mask on. And they instead of giving him a mask, like they didn't even try to give him a mask. They just grabbed the dude and threw him on the ground, and now you have that. But I
gave him a mask whooping. He got a mask whooping.
I do want to say that though, like at Miracle, that's a quotable. Whiteness means you can opt in and out of laws. That is real talk. You know what I'm saying? That's real. You know what I'm saying? That's a quotable.
And for those of you who are local to Pittsburgh or know about Pittsburgh, what makes this even more infuriating, that's my word for today, just enraging, is Chuck Saunders, who owns the Savoy restaurant, bar, lounge in the Strip District. He just not only had his business shuttered, they were raided.
Yes.
Due to not following COVID protocols, they raided that black man's establishment, took out his liquor, over $200,000 of liquor, called the media to demoralize him and disrespect him. And literally now this black man's business, his liquor license, is in jeopardy because of quote unquote COVID-19 violations. So how is this white restaurant able to be like, F you to the governor, F this mandate? We have all these lawyers. We don't believe in COVID. We're having indoor dining. F that, we're doing what we want. And this black man who is following COVID-19 protocols best he can, telling people to wear masks, following the guidelines of how many people can be in and out, how is he the one who's rated? How is his business being taken advantage of?
No season, no reason to shut them down. The more seasons, more reasons to shut you down. You know what I mean? You seasoning your food, you're gonna get a felony. You don't season your food, don't season your chicken. That white supremacy works well for you. So that's why
I do be having to close the blinds when I'm making chicken at night. I don't want them to see what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, that's a secret recipe, bro. That's a secret recipe. They don't want it.
I mean, it is deep to see. It is deep to see what's happening.
Fuck them niggas, dude. Fuck them.
No, I mean, and just to, for the record, Chuck Sanders has been talking about it. He's been talking about, he believes it's connected to gentrification. That folks have been trying to get his building. They wanted.
They did something similar with Justin in the Shadow Lounge, isn't it? Like they did something very similar.
Right, and he had to sell and move, and now. We haven't had a venue like that since. You know what I'm saying?
They called in a lot of noise complaints when they started gentrifying East Liberty. The Shadow Lounge all of a sudden became hit with noise complaints and all types of unsightly violations and quality of life crimes and all of these things like that. So this is how they gentrify areas. And now once you actually do that, what they'll do is they put up Black Lives Matter signs in those areas once they've evicted all the black people.
Yes, Black Lives Matter when black people are no longer in existence. And 100%. It shows you from the business perspective to this kind of executive, black people are being our societal culture, our thriving is not taken seriously or included in any of the future for this region. And that's why we have to sit there and say there are black people in the future. This is why I literally try to recruit at least 5 black people to move here every week.
Because three black people move a day.
We have to bring stuff back. Like we have to have places where we can go, where we can feel accepted, where we can dress up, have fun, twerk during brunch if that's what we choose to do. And but like not all of these black-owned bars have been taken out. Think of all the places people used to go. They're literally closing them down. Noise complaints, violations. Have people in at 2:05 instead of like 2:00. All types of stuff has been going on.
Right. Nikki Joe was just on the chat. We saw, they threw a brick through her. They broke the windows of the spot that she just opened up downtown. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, listen, hold up. Buy some sea moss from Nikki Joe. I just got 3 jars.
Well, I'm just saying it just goes to miracles things.
Shipment,
yeah. When we try to have a place where we own it, we enjoy our, it's always violence against us when we do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where's our protecting? Where are folks coming to help us? Or is it just like, it seems to me like Pittsburgh is really just satisfied with being a city in America for black women, one of the worst cities in America for black people. Are we just satisfied and content with that? You know what I'm saying as well? I mean, I think, before we get to the end, I think we also need to talk about what happened at Allegheny County Jail. I mean, since we're talking about the region,
that trash ass food.
Yeah, a video went viral where a brother, basically was like, this is what they gave us at Allegheny County Jail today. And it was bologna, some Teddy Grahams, and some applesauce, and that was literally their meal. Meanwhile, we have, people being quarantined because COVID is running rampant at Allegheny County Jail. We have a population that's 67% black, even over 13% of the population.
Mold on the ceilings, mold on the walls.
Right. We have all of these people that that were in the medical field, that were nurses at Allegheny County Jail, coming out talking about how abusive that situation was, how neglectful they are of the prisoners in Allegheny County, and they're speaking out and being fired. And this is all under the guise of a quote unquote black warden. It takes us back to like what we were talking about before, like the warden is black because he's black does not mean he's somebody that is, I mean, clearly he's representative of white supremacy and how he's moving. If you would allow during COVID, all of these things to happen under your watch, and then we're going to give you some bologna and some Eddie Grahams and call that a meal?
This week been because of black people who've been messing up all week. From the councilman saying black people don't want to defund the police, from Judge Kim Clark at the Jail Oversight Board to Orlando Harper, the warden at the Allegheny County Jail. As a black person, I firmly believe you are put in positions of power to not do harm to other black people. You don't have to be as progressive as we are. You don't have to believe the same, have the same values, morals, worldview, whatever, be that as it may. But to actively do harm to other black people, I do not get it. Orlando Harper, you are a warden of a jail, one of the worst jails in America. You literally could be like, you know what? We don't have the resources to take care of our people. We don't have all the, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create this type of program. I'm going to ask the School of Social Work. I'm going to ask all these people to come and actually help me out. You can say, you know what? These are people. People are dying in my jail. I'm going to have a press conference. I'm going to ask different healthcare workers and providers to come in. I'm going to ask judges not to send people here. I'm going to ask for people to come and clean out this mold, this mildew. And I'm going to go on record. We all know as soon as the wrong person dies in that jail, you are the first person who's going to get fired.
First person.
We all know as soon as the right person makes a phone call, you are the first person who is going to get blamed. All the people who protect you now are going to abandon you because you are black. And you are going to be the scapegoat. So why not use your power and your position and your authority to actually improve people's fucking lives? I do not understand it. The jail is a cesspool of human rights violations. People are being sexually assaulted. People are being starved. People don't have the access to their tablets. People are not getting access to food. People are not getting their medication. People are in the winter while it's snowing are naked in mental health pods on video camera. Why can't you just say, you know what? I'm sick of people yelling at me. I'm sick of these protesters. Come help me fix this. I do not get it. Judge Clark, people have come for you because of the Terrell Johnson situation. You're talking about you're doing a new leaf. You're understanding more about the long impacts of policy. Do something. These are people's lives. You are literally allowing people to die in this jail, to get sick in this jail. You are black. There should be something inherent in you to make people's lives better. And I do not understand why, for the love of me, you're in a position where you cannot get fired without cause, that you just don't fucking act. I don't get it.
On the low key, I feel like why would anyone even want to be a warden if not to uphold white supremacy? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, should we really be, you know what I'm saying, asking him to make change? It's like, why did he even want to be there? You know?
Well, I think, man, we should edit this and send it to him. We're gonna just send you a word from Miracle this week. You know what I'm saying?
I just want y'all to do better for yourselves. That's all I want. He was like, who are you coming for? I'm not coming for nobody. I want people to be better. I want people to do better, because I feel like I'm an abolitionist, so I feel like I can't throw anybody away. We live in a globe, as Dr. Julia Bailey says. I can't throw you away. All I can do is ask you to do better and be better, right? Because at the end of the day, you are harming other people, and you shouldn't be harming another person. That's what I can't jive with. You shouldn't be harming other people.
And I would say to your question, Trouble, too, if you're black and gonna take that job, like disrupt. Like, if you're a black person, you're an educator, and you see they are educating our children, like disrupt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we see the power of. We just had a dope conversation on something else we were doing with Woodland Hill students, but we see the impact of a dope black principal being on the scene, and teachers and administration that care for their students. You know what I'm saying? We've seen the principal got on the call. He said, "I just want y'all to know, say whatever y'all want. You can be critical of our school. We don't care. Like, I want y'all to speak y'all truth." Like, so we see it's not, to me, the position, it's who's serving that position and what are you doing. We're seeing prosecutors, district attorneys getting elected. You saw the dude in Los Angeles. He came in like, "Hey, this is my first day. Check it out. This is what I ain't gonna do." if you underage and doing some bullshit, I ain't gonna put you in jail. If you smoking marijuana, I'm not prosecuting that either. He came first day like, "Yo, check it out. I'm coming here to change things. I'm coming here to disrupt things." And so I think we can do that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to have somebody with that heart like Miracle in those positions, and somebody that's really, willing to listen to the community. And that's what we need. So that's an amen. Did we want to get to our Karen of the week? Kind of wrap it up. So we had like a cavalcade of Terry Cruz's the week. You know what I'm saying? Like, we done named 10 black people on this show. That's just
this was not a good week for us.
Oh my God. Our Karen of the week is what's her name? Miracle Kelly Loeffler.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Loeffler. So for those that don't know, Kelly Loeffler is, she's running.
That's your friend. That's y'all.
She's running for the Senate in Georgia against Reverend Warnock, and she was out on the campaign trail, and where was she? With a bunch of white supremacists, where she always is. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
She ended up taking a selfie with entourage. Yeah, she ended up taking a selfie with a guy who ran the KKK. This was a guy that almost beat a black man to death, went to prison for it. This is an admitted avowed white supremacist. And of course, he put it on his Facebook page like, "Yo, we backing Kelly. We're going to do this." And then when she was called out on it, this is the same woman that said she didn't have a racist bone in her body. And I'm going to tell you what, white.
They never do. They must,
You had racist organs and phalanges. Somebody told me.
You got racist blood coursing through your damn veins. Like, what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying.
You know why they don't have a racist bone in their body? Because their bones are white.
It's because racism's in their brain, bro. Of course, they don't have a racist bone. Your brain's not a bone.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to white people, if you say I don't have a racist bone in my body, you might as well just put on a KKK uniform. Like, we know, there's just like if a white person says I'm colorblind, you are just a straight up white supremacist. Like, in my mind, if you say I don't have a racist bone in my body, you are a straight up white supremacist. I mean, that's the point blank period. And so she tried to say she didn't know who that was, but Miracle was breaking it down. You said she had been around some white militia people before, tried to say she didn't know who that was. But I mean, I think it's clear, when you look at what's happening in Georgia, that we need to do what we can. So if you know people in Georgia, they 18, please encourage them to vote for Reverend Warnock. We need that. What's going on the ground in Georgia?
I also want to say, Kelly, you wouldn't have this controversy if you were wearing your mask and having other people to B wear their mask, because they would have been like, "That wasn't me. I don't know who that was in that picture," but it was clear as day, just selfied up, and she just had COVID. Right?
Oh, wow.
She just had COVID, so here she is breathing other people's air, unmasked on a day, and it's just like, no. And I will say, I just learned this week that people are asymptomatic or in the ICU getting sick. So people are dying. Our beds in Georgia are filling up. A lot of the places, the rural heartland of the South, don't have hospitals, and you literally out there killing your people. You're killing your voters. You are killing your voters. The herd immunity, now that it's stabling a little bit in the black community, is going to be coming for white folks. And guess what? You're going to be mad when the hospital turns you away. You're going to be mad when the hospital says, "We can't help you. Go home to die."
And that's when you should have been seeking your food, because those natural herbs and spices can help you fight off COVID. I'll leave on that note. Everybody have a good night. See you next week.
Hilarious. So we wrapping it up. Our call to action is, you know, what is our call to action, Miracle? Support
My
News
birthday is
Positive Toy Drive.
Friday. My birthday is Friday.
Oh,
So
go. Celebrating Miracle on
Oh,
Friday.
birthday. But on top, oh, wait a minute. Wait, 20? We throwing 20s now? Oh, sucky.
Interesting.
I will say it won't be him.
I'm gonna get back.
But also, on a more serious note, we know that December 22nd is the 1-year anniversary of the Romeo Talley murder by the Wilkinsburg Police Department and the cover up. And so we are hosting a series of events and commemorations along with the Romeo Talley family. We have a toy drive on the 19th. If you would like to participate in a non-racist, non-fascist toy drive, please go to our Facebook page or look on our social media. We can drop off toys, but we'll be at the Community Forge, on the 19th of December, this Saturday, for a 12 and under toy drive. So that's our call to action, support the toy drive. We have a One Hood, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. If you want to donate, please make sure you put toys in the subject line so we can make sure we get those receipts, because we have accountants and we do audits and we like to put our money where our mouth is and let our action speak for us. So if you donate, please put toys in the action drive. On top of that, yes, and the Talley family will be on all of our shows next week. So please tune in. We also have Ask a Black Doctor tomorrow. I was talking about the COVID and the vaccine and all of that, because you're all just embarrassing me out here unmasked and getting sick, and these cases are going up. And I was supposed to be in Kenya for my birthday, but guess who's here in snowy Pittsburgh, because y'all don't want to stay home for 2 weeks.
I also did want to shout out Young Black Motivated Kings and Queens. They're also doing a toy drive on December 20th from 4 to 8 at it's 920 or 960 Western Avenue. It's a grab and go toy drive, so you can just come. You don't got to mingle. Have your mask on, grab your toys, and go. Everything will be sanitized. So shout out to Young Black Motivated Kings and Queens as well. And we're gonna have, what Black Pittsburgh needs to know on Tuesday is gonna be what Black Pittsburgh needs to know about Romeo Talley. And so we're definitely gonna because that is the anniversary of his death, and we saw again kind of what Lori Lightfoot did. We saw Black people and Black women.
Can we say her name?
Mrs. Garrett.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Maria Garrett and what's the
Shane?
Cookie Coleman.
You know what, Marita?
Coleman.
There is still time to make this right. There is still time to actually have an apology that is not an on-site apology. There is time to actually call the family and repair and restore whatever that's happened in this community.
Absolutely.
It's never too late to do the right thing, right? It's never too late to be human and to engage and to just go out. And I just hope that as we hit this year anniversary, that the mayor's office, the Wilkinsburg Police Department, the council who's meeting at 7 right now, that y'all really just do the right thing, apologize to this family, fire this officer, and engage in some healing circles and some transformative justice, because we do not need this type of anger, hurt, and pain in our communities. And so, like I said, even for Peduto, it's never too late to do the right thing.
Yeah, we also want to, just publicly send our condolences to Rashad Birdsong and his family. They just lost their grandson, 15-year-old Jafar, to gun violence. So we also want to say, as a call to action, just sending prayers up for that brother, for that family, as a community, all that's come around him. From all accounts, the young brother was somebody who was just a positive force in the community. And, it's just been an outpouring of emotion. And so, let's also not forget, we still have a lot of work to do, and so that's, I know we're going into the holiday season, on your loved ones, support your people, support your folks, And yeah, definitely sending our condolences to that brother and that family. Anything else before we go?
Yes, since there's a little bit
Oh,
of
the book.
chatter,
Oh man, forgot
a little
about
bit
our
of
white.
chatter in the very beginning of the show about Black women not showing up and people not doing work. There's this book called When and Where I Enter, based off the Anna Julia Cooper quote by Paula Giddings, talking about Black leaders, Black women leaders throughout the years. So please go and read it. It's this good book, but it's primarily on Black women in America, and our contributions to the race and our communities. So please go and read that and research and figure out how to make actual demands of politicians and how to further policies for your people without erasing the work of Black women. So this is the book, When and Where I Enter.
Aren't we supposed to get superpowers on the 21st?
Oh yeah, because Saturn and Jupiter are going in
DNA.
conjunction.
Our DNA is gonna.
Astrological
What is
thing.
it? What's our DNA gonna do on the 21st miracle? It's gonna.
We
gonna
just
do what?
listen.
So am I gonna get to be a real super villain? Like, am I gonna like turn Super Saiyan or something? That
I
would be
hope
great.
not. It's gonna be beautiful.
Meaner or mean?
Me.
Well, we'll be here. We will be back next week.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. We will be here on the 23rd. You know what I'm saying?
With superpowers.
That'll be all right. It's gonna be on. And that will be our last show of the year. So I don't know. Are we gonna do some like wrap up of like the most racist?
We should.
Well, Matt, we should.
Who's the biggest racist of the year?
I mean, it's just all gonna be shit Trump did. Like,
wait, is that the last show of the
all
year?
these Terry Cruises.
There was somebody that lives close to us that said that they had 30 years in Black neighborhoods
right
around Black people. You know what I mean?
I just said it's time for him to change himself.
So I mean, it's still time for you too. It's still time for everybody. Oh, we want to use Joe Biden as an outro. We want to go out to Joe Biden.
We should. But put Joe Biden in there again, man.
Put Joe Biden in there
sign off.
Screaming on Black people.
So Joe, I'm tired of you niggas Biden. That's
bro. Joe Biden was in office for 5 minutes.
He ain't even been in office. He hasn't even been in office yet.
This nigga
he's already tired of Black people.
Been elected for like dare make a demand on me. Like, come on. Oh my God. So next week we'll have our white supremacy wrap up, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there. So see y'all next time.
We'll launch our racist rehab next week.
Yes, race rehab. Ask a Black Doctor tomorrow. And on Tilt tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Yo, Bun's tired of you niggas.
A lot of people in our community are getting a little anxious because they are not seeing enough of the progress they thought they would have seen at this point. Let's not disappoint them, and let's not get to a place where voters in Georgia begin to second guess.
Okay, let me respond. I gotta go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay, number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else, no progressive, was talking about it. I did.